Are things going in a way that you did not expect them to go at the beginning of the year? Are things playing out a little differently, or is this about what you thought was going to happen?
What's weird is I thought coming into the year with the changes to the roster, with Jayson Tatum injured, that the losses might not sting as much, that we'd be okay, tempered expectations, like they're in a different place. Maybe we just enjoy that they were super competitive at times. And yet I've found myself more often than not at the end of these games getting like kind of worked up because one, I think they're better than people gave them credit for coming into the season, but then they have all these lapses in key spots, and especially in the late game execution, whether it's failing to box out against Utah and letting Nurkic get the putback when Nimi didn't get a body on him, to last night when Jalen's a little bit out of position and Oubre gets the putback. And then late game, they can't kind of get a good offensive set when they need one. So maybe my expectations are still way out of whack. Maybe I need to understand that this is going to be a little bit of a learning process. But I'm just surprised they haven't been more crisp in those situations because they do still have guys that have been there, and they haven't been able to put together 48 minutes. So to me they've got to tighten that up a little bit. There's been a lot of good that's happened, and it's been largely masked by their inability to win close games.
Is it just me, Chris, or does this team not pass the ball well either? It seems that ball movement is a big problem, and there's a lot of one-on-one stuff.
Yeah, so Scal brought it up, I think, in our postgame last night that they just missed sometimes easy baskets, some drop-offs to Nimi, some sprays to the corner when a guy might be open, and yeah, like they're not right now. I mean, the assist numbers bear it out. Like they're one of the bottom 5 assist teams in the league right now, which is jarring because they've been such a high assist team in recent seasons. So it's fair to wonder like how they can get better at that. I think Jalen's been good in sections. Like there were a couple passes last night where I thought he drove to the basket and made a pass that he probably wouldn't have in past seasons, and is really good in those moments. Some of your passing woes will be alleviated if Derek White just starts making shots again. And outside of the third quarter last night, it's been pretty rough go for him. One of his rougher first halves last night. So maybe some of that stuff will organically get a little bit better, but. Yeah, part of when you don't have a Tatum, when you don't have Drew Holiday, when you lose that sort of talent, the passing gets a little bit worse, and it's harder to create the good looks that they've created in the past.
Did you expect that from Derek White? I mean, all the conversation preseason was about Jaylen Brown and how he was going to be able to answer the bell with Jayson Tatum being out. Derek White, I just assume, would be the same old Derek White, dependable, reliable, and he's going to have pretty solid stats. So is it surprising to you to see him struggle in an elevated role?
Yeah, 100%. Like he's been so good the last few years. I didn't think it would matter elevating to a different role. Like even if you think going from fourth or third option to the second option, you watch some of these shots and it's just he's missing wide open looks. Caught one in the corner last night when he was going through it. He kind of took like one of those, you see guys catch it and take a dribble, a rhythm dribble. And I would say a good amount of the time that kind of just locks you in and gets you going. And he totally bricked it. And I don't know. I can't put my finger on why. He's been pretty adamant that it's not the increased attention, that it's not the fact that he's now sort of option number 2. It's more that he's just missing shots, and that's got to be frustrating for him. He's had occasional slumps. It's cost him probably an all-star nod, probably 2 years ago, maybe even a year ago. So to see him do it out of the gates is a little jarring. I think he needs one night, see the ball go in the basket, and maybe I thought that third quarter was going to unlock him last night. Made 5 of 6 shots, 3 threes. Felt like he was maybe finally ready to unlock, and then had a bad fourth quarter with shooting. So he's just got to. I don't know. Like it's easy to say keep shooting, stick with it, but yeah, of all the players, his struggles have been the most jarring, just not being able to get that shot to go.
You have your big 3 or 4 at the top of this roster, and then you have a bunch of other guys that are kind of scrapping for playing time. Minot was a guy that everyone loved, and then we barely saw him last night. Jordan Walsh was a guy that everyone was waiting to arrive, and all of a sudden there he is defending the other team's top guy at the end of the game. I mean, do you have a kind of an idea of who deserves playing time and who doesn't at this point?
Minot's had an issue with fouling, and especially usually comes in for his second shift, and it just seems maybe a little over anxious. Usually picks up, if he had two, he gets his third, and it's tough to put him back out there. I think they've been really hard trying to get him to be a little bit more disciplined. The energy is great, but it's got to be harnessed the right way. I think they know. He had that 21-point game a couple of games ago. You can see the potential. He's just got this is what 21, 22-year-old guys do. And Walsh is the same way. Like, I think Walsh finally kind of figured out like how he has to play in that Washington game. He came in and he was just relentless going after rebounds, and sometimes that gives you a little bit of gives your coach confidence in why you're out there, especially when that was the biggest weakness of the team to that point. Same deal. Like, it's been good to see him put a string of games together. You got to be able to do it not just over one or two or four, but over the course of 20 games or whatever the case may be. But I think it's good to see a guy like Walsh kind of figure out where he can be most impactful. I think it could help unlock him a little bit in terms of, like, now he's shooting with a little bit of confidence, and we'll see where that goes. And Minot and Ugo and all these guys that have shown flashes have just got to figure out how to do it consistently and how to impact winning when that shot's not falling or you're not getting touches, and how do you be a little bit more disciplined out there. But I think the bench overall has been like one of the bigger surprises. Like, I didn't think as quickly as they have that like Walsh and Ugo would be as impactful, and especially with their defense. I think that's one of the more encouraging signs is, wins and losses aside, trying to find guys that would be part of your next championship caliber team. Like, who are the pieces that when Tatum's back are comprising rotation roles? And I think Ugo and Walsh clearly have set themselves apart as guys that will help you, especially on the defensive end.
Okay, do you see this getting better?
It's interesting. The schedule has been. I know people all think I'm all green Kool-Aid. Like, I'm not giving them any outs. Like, the record should be better. And I think how we view this season would be different if you don't fumble away the Utah game, if you find a way to win a couple of these Philly games. The schedule was pretty tough out of the gates.
In fairness to the schedule, I mean, they're playing the East. I mean, the teams they've lost to in the East are the teams in the East, if that makes any sense. Like, like the 76ers, the Knicks, the Pistons, the Magic, these are teams that are in the East. So, like, if you can't, the schedule might have been tough, but, I mean, these teams aren't going anywhere. These are the teams they got to play. If you went out west and you, like, had a bad road trip, you can go, okay, they went out west and had a bad road trip. But if you're losing repeatedly to the 76ers, you're losing the Knicks, you're losing the Pistons, you're losing the Magic, that's not going anywhere. These are the teams you have to be.
They have to be better. And I think that's, like, if they're going to be a team that wants to be in the middle of the East pack or something more once, if Tatum comes back later in the year, then they've got to take it up a level.
Would you want him to come back?
And I believe the question was, can it get better? I mean, can you answer the question once and for all, Forsberg, instead of dancing around it? I'm tired of this sparring that you're doing.
Yeah, I'm tired of it too.
Answer the question. Can it get better?
Yeah.
I don't come in the studio one time and I'm getting toned.
You didn't get to talk about golf beforehand. You got him all riled up.
I know.
You edged him.
I wanted desperately to tell him how I played yesterday in the snow, and he would have thought I was a lunatic.
Oh, you're an idiot.
It can get better. There can be more consistency with this team. I can't tell you if it will, how fast that will happen. I think some of these young guys just have to kind of go through it, and we'll see if they learn from it. I think we've now seen multiple instances where at the end of games, they haven't even been able to get a good shot off. That has to change. That's on Joe to put his players in better position. That's on the players to not feel rushed. And for Derek White to rush a shot up with 2 seconds left. It's for Nemi to not smoke and wide open putback with 0.5 on the clock. Like, that can get better, but it comes down to they have to understand, like, the margin's slim. Like, you let up a couple putbacks and all of a sudden that tips a game. And so there's been too many times where they haven't been up to the standard that they have to get better. But it's on them. Like they can determine if it'll get better. Like, can Derek White get out of this funk? Can guys box out in key spots? Like that will determine if they can get better.
Do you think Missoula gets fired this year?
No. Is that like a common question on the show?
No, I was thinking. I was just thinking of something to ask.
They trade Tatum before he comes back from injury?
No, this is a serious question. Would you even have Tatum come back this year?
Yes.
I absolutely would not.
Why?
Because
are you a doctor?
Oh, nice.
No, but I know a lot about vaccines. They're bad. And I can certainly tell you there's no. I don't have a podcast, so I'm not a doctor. No, but I would treat it.
Well, you haven't done your own research. That's the problem.
Give me a week to listen to some podcasts, Chris, and I'll get back to you on the medical expertise of it. No, but I'm okay. I'm not a doctor, Chris. Thank you for that challenge. That is, you've now got me. The audience now knows I do not have a medical degree. But
you're dancing around. Why wouldn't you answer the question?
I wanted to make jokes, Chris, because I'm trying to add some. I'm trying to make some comedy here. But no, in all seriousness, because if the season's just kind of is what it is, and you're going into a play-in tournament, I don't want to mess around with that Achilles. Like, I don't want to do it. All I can imagine is that you can only get it stronger, right? Like, I know the actual tendon can't get stronger, but you can only get stronger, build around that tendon, let that surgery take hold, and then it's like a pitcher. Like if a pitcher had, Tommy John surgery or had labrum surgery or something, and you could rush him back at the end of the season where you might make the playoffs, you might not. If it was my team, I would say I absolutely don't want this guy pitching. Just give him some more time to get healthy. It's the same thing with Tatum. Because if Tatum goes out there and you're playing in a play-in game and he re-injures himself, even if it's not his Achilles, even if it's just some other part of that leg that atrophied or wasn't as strong as it should have been, while he was recovering, now you're talking about missing him more. You know what I'm saying? I would just err on the side of caution with it.
100%. And when it first happened, that's the kind of the camp I was in. I was like, why would you even think about bringing him back until the 26-27 season? You're in transition anyway. Learn what you got. There's a lot of other things you can accomplish. I think the one thing that we just can't figure, we can't know is just, is there an increased risk? If by February he is cleared enough hurdles and all the strength tests tell you that Achilles is okay, good luck telling Jayson Tatum he can't go back on the basketball court. Like, this is what he's working so hard to do, to get back there. And I don't think it's not like a speed thing. I think he's attacking this the right way. And I'm sure if they tell him, like, hey, you need another month before we're confident this is going to, he'll do it. But if he gets to a point where he can get out there, he can shake some rust, I would love to get that part of it in the rearview mirror, for him to be able to have a normal off season, for him to be able to come in next year and it's not game one. It's like, oh my God, Jayson Tatum's back out on the court.
Let me just give you a scenario. Okay, so you're going to put him on like a minutes restriction, or there's something going on, and you get into a play-in game and it's the fourth quarter and you're down by 4, and there's 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter and he hits his minutes restriction. Are you pulling him out of that game?
That's something the organization, and that's why Brad Stevens and the doctors, and they all get paid a lot of money to make that decision. I would say, why put yourself in that position? Maybe that's a scenario where you're like, hey, playoff intensity, you're not ready for that. Jayson Tatum is not.
Now, there's you're putting a lot of restrictions on this thing. So you'd let him play in the regular season, but if they make the playoffs, he can't play in the playoffs.
I think it's a bridge you have to cross. How comfortable are you with?
Well, good luck telling him he can't play in the playoffs.
100%. I'm not saying this is easy.
I won. I mean, we have to agree. I won. We have to agree. I won.
For the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.